Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're hoping everybody can hear us now. Can someone give me a 5x5 to let us know that we're on the air and you've got plenty of good audio? Somebody please give us a 5x5 here. We'd appreciate that. Demon Catman is here. Richard Smith is here. Hurricane Heather is here. Juanito's here. Welcome, Juanito. Last night we talked about the Southern California earthquakes, including what was going on in the Imperial Valley. And you guys in the Imperial Valley got nailed the last 2 days. You guys in the Imperial Valley got totally nailed. Those earthquakes were huge yesterday. Even 3.5 to 5.0 earthquakes, even yesterday, one day after that large, very strong quake hit over in San Diego County, East San Diego County. Unreal. Ann Pickering also is here. Thank you, Ann. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Virginia Ortega's here. God bless you all. We appreciate you being here. Now, guys, I want to read a memo that I got from Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is the Deputy Director of the FBI. He's in this picture standing on the left-hand side, and on the right is the FBI Director, Kash Patel. This message is coming from Dan Bongino. Your comments and criticisms are not only welcome, but they're helpful. We work for you, the American people. Your feedback is invaluable. All I ask is that you consider the following feedback. When you see something happen and the entire story isn't public and the underlying facts aren't all public, it may appear counterintuitive to our reform agenda. But I promise you, it's not an accident. Ask yourself, why would I sign on to something like this otherwise? Is it a desire to be wealthy, famous, connected, or to be a future lobbyist? If that sounds ridiculous, it is, because it is. I realized that when I signed up that I'd never be able to fully explain some decisions we make due to legal and ethical constraints. But that's a pill I agreed to take and swallow when I swore in. In conclusion, I realize asking you to trust me is a waste of time. Watch what happens. Continue to demand results. Be cautious of narrative traps. Let time put the puzzle pieces together. What we're doing will make sense. I see and hear you and your feedback. Thank you for your time, Dan Bongino. He also says, through Kash Patel, they tried to silence us. But now Kash Patel says, I lead the FBI. The time for reckoning has arrived. Join the revolution for truth and justice. That is Kash Patel. They work for us, the American people. They're here for us. Now, folks, you can choose to deny it. You can choose to say, I won't believe it. But guess what? When I get messages from Dan Bongino, I will pass them on. Okay? He says the deep state is collapsing. What's coming next will shock you. What's coming next will shock you. In the coming days, guys, in the coming days, I guarantee you that we have some information that will blow your socks off. Now, I can't tell you what it is. The White House, Kash Patel, and the other executives in the White House have not released this information yet. But we are told that they have some information that will knock our socks off, and it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So please wait on that. Please give Washington and President Trump the chance to come out with the information. They will. They promise that it will knock our socks off. Please be aware of that. Now, we have a lot of earthquakes to talk about. A lot of earthquakes have hit all around our planet. Let's take a look at the earthquakes that hit around our planet. Okay? This area is the area of the Imperial Valley, containing Calipatria, California, that we talked about yesterday. Notice again that the USGS is not showing you any earthquakes here. Yesterday, we showed you over 400 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley alone. Right here in the Imperial Valley alone. Over here in the southern end. Here in the southern end. This is Heber, California, near the border of Mexico. This is a 1.8 tremor here. Right here is a 1.9, 2.0 in Mexicali, which is on the border. Mexicali is on the north and Calexico is on the south. Actually, Mexicali is on the south, Calexico is on the north. I'm sorry. Mexicali is on the south, which is a 2.0 earthquake, and Calexico is on the north side of the U.S. border. Unreal. Now, while we're talking about the border, let me back this out for you. Our northern border is under attack. Our northern border is under attack. Okay? I'm telling you that. Why? Because Chinese and other nations, including Middle East nations, are coming here into Canada. They're trying to force Canadians to let them cross into the United States. They're spending the money to fly in here. And even the drug cartels from Mexico are offering the chance for them to be escorted into the United States by their drug cartels. This is happening. We have verification of it. When they closed down the southern border of Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, it's almost completely closed down. Compared to what it was even 4 months ago, it's completely closed down now. Before, they were getting anywhere from 1,200 illegal immigrants coming across the border every day, and even more than that, to now it's 40 illegals running. 40 illegals running for their life to cross into the country. It's all but shut down. On the southern border, yesterday, the President of the United States and Peter Hegseth, the Defense Secretary, signed a document with the Department of Interior Secretary, allowing the United States military to patrol the border. 60 feet on the inside U.S. side of the border is now military territory. The military is going to take anybody into custody that they find running across the border. They'll take them into custody and call Customs Border Protection to take them into custody. And they will be returned to Mexico or wherever they came from. That's there. But up here on the northern border, the Mexican drug cartels are helping escort people from around the world here into the United States. Now, in some cases, it's a very terrifying journey because up here in Canada, it's still wintertime in some parts of Canada. Still wintertime. Very freezing temperatures. The lakes and rivers are frozen over as well. With that said, it's very cold. It's very dangerous. As springtime comes, the ice on the rivers and the lakes melt. But that doesn't mean the water's any less freezing. It's still going to be very dangerous to cross these rivers and lakes. Very, very dangerous. And the northern border has very little enforcement up there because we've taken our military, we've taken our Border Patrol and Customs Border Protection and put them on the southern border. But it looks like we're going to have to reevaluate the northern border because the Mexican drug cartels have gone up here to help escort people across. Others fly to Canada and then want to cross into the United States, and this includes Chinese. Chinese are coming across the northern border in droves. Now, this is a 5,500 foot, or 5,500 foot, 5,500 mile journey across the entire border east to west. It's very dangerous. There are some port of entries, but other parts of the northern border are not patrolled at all. They're forested areas, mountainous areas, still very dangerous. But these drug cartels are crossing our northern border now to gain access to the United States. It's going to be an incredible thing to see. Now, I've seen reports that I can't show you yet. I'm going to say yet. I will show them to you at some point in time, as soon as I have permission. But guys, it is happening. U.S. northern border is wide open. Most of the people right here in the northeastern part of the continent area here are coming in across the border between New York and I believe it's New York and Michigan. Between New York here on the East Coast over here to Michigan. That's where they're trying to come in across the country. It's unreal. Over in the central part of the United States, they're still crossing here. But most of the people coming across right now are over here on the eastern side of Canada and the United States. That's where the majority of the population is crossing. But it's still dangerous. Still dangerous. Now be advised, we have helicopters up in the air. The Canadian military and Canadian mounted police are also in helicopters. Some of those people are going to be stopped. They're going to be stopped dead in their tracks. Okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Who would have known that they would all of a sudden want to cross in through the northern border? It pays extra money. It costs a lot of extra money. And these people that are being led or escorted across have to pay upwards of $3,000 a piece to be escorted across into the United States. Unreal. Unreal. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody have any questions about that? Santa Miranda is saying, hi from Puerto Rico. They're off grid, no electricity. Sandra, why do you not have electricity in Puerto Rico now? What happened? What happened to you guys in Puerto Rico? Okay, Sandra, I just picked up some information that you might want to know. Puerto Rico goes dark after widespread power plant failure. Widespread power plant failure. Let me turn on our video here, and I'll give you the information here. Puerto Rico's gone dark. Let me put up a picture here as well. Just a second here. Oh gosh, I'm not sure we're going to be able to do this. Let me try to do it another way here, see if I can pick up this picture. Just a second here. Okay, I got it. I've got the picture here. Apparently, this is what it looks like all over Puerto Rico. The skies are dark. The only light is coming from cars or other lights or lanterns around the country. San Juan, this is coming from San Juan, Puerto Rico today. Puerto Rico was hit with a massive power outage today after energy plants across the island unexpectedly shut down. The power Genera is the company in charge of the generation stations. Puerto Rico has long dealt with chronic power outages, including a blackout on New Year's Eve as its infrastructure crumbled. Reuters is saying that the Tariff Watch newsletter, the Tariff Watch, is their daily guide to the latest global trade and tariff news. Genera is an electricity company, like I said. It's working to bring backup power units online, and they're allegedly investigating the cause of the incident. The energy distribution company Luma Energy said the outage began about 12:40 p.m. local time. As of 2 p.m., all plants on the U.S. territory are still offline. Real-time data from the Genera's website showed. We will provide updates as soon as more details become available regarding this power outage and the time frame for restoring service. That's what they're saying. They will give us more information as they get it. So right now, the power generation stations around Puerto Rico has shut down. They don't know why. They don't know why. Okay, that's what's going on in Puerto Rico. I'm so very sorry to have that happen. This is not the first time that we've had power problems over in Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, it's been very common. Back in 2019 in December, just after Christmas on December 26th and December 28th, a great big huge man-made earthquake also caused power to go down for about 2 weeks. And it took a long time for the power to come back on after that. Unreal. Unreal. Now, I want to tell everybody here, I will try to keep tabs on the power generators over in Puerto Rico, and I will relay information to you as soon as we're able to get the information. I promise you, we will follow up on this. Guys, if you're here watching this program, please subscribe to Emergency Management Associates here on YouTube. Subscribe, and when you subscribe, click on that little bell icon right next to the subscription button. Click on that. That should get you notified when we come on the air. But believe this, YouTube does not always notify everybody when we come on the air. We come on the air normally between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, Monday through Friday. Sometimes we have come on the air later when there's been a lot of information on a news day. But today I've come on the air because I've done a lot of research for you to bring information to you. We're primarily going to talk about earthquakes tonight. Surgery is saying possible sabotage in Puerto Rico. It wouldn't surprise me. Why do I say that? There's a good reason why I say that, guys. Okay? There's a very good reason why I would say that. Puerto Rico has a government that really can't be trusted. I'm just going to be honest with you. They take a lot of money from the citizens and they don't do much of anything else for the citizens. And this comes from a lot of different sources. A lot of different sources have told me that. The governor, the mayors of various towns take money and disappear. They don't much care for anybody but themselves. That's what happens. It's almost a lawless U.S. territory. There is some law enforcement, yes, there is. But even some of the police chiefs take advantage of their officers and take advantage of the people in the cities and areas that they protect. It's very sad. It's very sad. Hey, Nathan, it's good to hear from you. Nathan Hester is on his phone, on his wife's phone, watching our program tonight. Thank you for being here, Nathan. We appreciate it. Nathan Hester is our storm chaser, our resident storm chaser. We appreciate him being here. We really do. Anyway, tonight we're going to primarily talk about earthquakes on the East Coast and over on the New Madrid Fault. But tonight, before we get into that, I want to give you an update on earthquakes around the world. That's where we're going now. Right now, we don't have any earthquakes reported here on the East Coast, except I've got information. USGS has not even shown us what's going on, which is a sad day. This is normally what they do. They rarely tell us what's going on. I'm going to go over here. This is Georgia, Linwood, Georgia. This is a 2.2 moderate earthquake. I'm sorry, 2.2 minor earthquake. Sorry about that. 2.2 minor earthquake over here in Georgia. I'm going to give you or show you seismographs from Georgia that will back this up. And there are other larger earthquakes in this 2.2, but again, USBS is not going to talk about it. USBS is not going to talk about it, unfortunately. But over here in Linwood, Georgia, we have a 2.2 earthquake. Notice where it's at. This 2.2 earthquake is over here in the Eastern Continental Divide, up in the mountains, Linwood, Georgia. I have seismograms here in Georgia giving us information further over here on the foothills to the east of the Continental Divide. I'm going to show you earthquakes here that might knock your socks off. Be prepared for that. Let's go out into the South Pacific first. I want to go over here to the South Pacific. What's going on over here in Tonga? This is a large 5.0 earthquake here, 135 kilometers east of Niafo, Tonga. East of Niafo, Tonga. This is out in the Pacific Ocean, far enough away from land where it did not do any damage. You can see Niafo, Tonga over here to the west, right there. That's Niafo, Tonga. This is a large 5.0 earthquake east of there. This is 35.5 kilometers deep. 35.5 kilometers deep. To the west, this is the southern Fiji region. This is a 4.2 moderate quake. This is a deep earthquake. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. It's a deep quake. This is 569 kilometers deep. This is going to propagate or birth a larger, shallower quake. This is going to propagate or birth a larger, shallower quake. This is going to birth, guess what? Another 5.1 to 5.2 earthquake in the next 10 days, possibly as early as 3 to 10 days. That's what's going to happen here. Let's go south here to the south of the Kermadec Islands. This is a 4.2 minor earthquake here, but not 4.2. Yes, it is a 4.7. 4.7 moderate earthquake south of the Kermadec Islands. It's an aftershock. It's an aftershock of this 5.4. 5.4 hit here just after 1:44 p.m. Eastern Time. This aftershock, it hit after, after 4:08 p.m. An aftershock of this 5.4 earthquake. Big deal. A big deal. Okay? We're still going to get earthquakes here. Okay? We always get earthquakes here in the Kermadec Islands, but this is south of the Kermadec Islands, between the Kermadec Islands and New Zealand, the North Island of New Zealand. And again, they're not giving us all the details about the earthquakes here in New Zealand. There's about 14 earthquakes here around and in the North Island of New Zealand. There are 4 earthquakes here in the South Island, 2 in the northern part of the South Island, and 2 over on the southwestern part of the South Island of New Zealand. These are 2.2s, 2.7s, and one 3.4. Not too big of a deal. But again, they're not going to tell us much of anything because USGS lies. They lie through their teeth. Them not talking about the earthquakes is an omission of truth. An omission of truth is a lie. An omission of truth is a lie. Lena Vilcano says deeper earthquake makes larger earthquakes. Yes, it does. Larger, shallower quakes. A deep earthquake will birth a larger, shallower quake sometime in that same area, some point in that area, sometime within the next 3 to 10 days. Okay, that seismic energy could go as far west as Papua New Guinea. You can say over here in the Solomon Islands or Vanuatu, or down here in the Legacy Islands down here. That seismic energy could go over to Tonga, could over to the Samoa area. It could also go east over here into Chile or Argentina over here in South America. It could happen. It has happened. But I don't think this earthquake over here in Fiji is going to do that. I think the energy is probably going to stay in this region here. Okay? Now, I want to go over here into the Indian Ocean. This earthquake happened last night. This earthquake happened last night after 10:25 p.m. Eastern Time. This is over on the Southeast Indian Rise. It's over here on the Antarctic Ridge. The Antarctic Ridge. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. This is 30 kilometers deep. Okay? It first came out as a 10-kilometer deep earthquake. It's actually 30 kilometers deep out here on the Antarctic Ridge in the Indian Ocean. The Antarctic Ridge in the Indian Ocean. Now, let's go over here to Myanmar. USGS is not talking about any earthquakes here in Myanmar. There are 12 earthquakes over here in Myanmar. 12 earthquakes. They range in size from a 1.5 tremor up to 3.5, 4.5, 4.7 earthquakes here in Myanmar. There's 12 of them. 12 of them. USGS is not talking about any of them. Now, we know that that earthquake that hit here in Myanmar was felt all over that peninsula of Southeast Asia, all over this area. Okay? The energy has gone, some of it has gone north. For example, right here. This is Western Zhejiang, China. This is a 4.3 earthquake. Okay? This is approximately 10 kilometers deep. We have energy over here in the Himalaya Mountains here. Himalaya Mountains. The Himalaya Mountains is a natural. It's a natural edge of the plate here. That's why we have earthquakes in this area. It's the edge of the plate. We come over here westbound. Afghanistan again. I told you 2 or 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, after the earthquake in Myanmar hit. We are going to have seismic energy roll across Himalaya Mountains and over here at Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. That's exactly what's happened. This is another 5.6 earthquake here in Perin, Afghanistan. Perin, Afghanistan. This is 99 kilometers deep. Again, this is over in the edge of the plate, the Craton edge here. That's why this earthquake happened. Again, it's a large, very large 5.6 earthquake. This is normal. This is normal. This area in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan usually have 4.0s, 4.4 earthquakes all the time. All the time. We are getting these large earthquakes here because of that earthquake in Myanmar 2.5 weeks ago. And this is going to be continued for some time to come. Now I'm going to back this out here and show you what is and is not going to happen. Okay? They're not showing any earthquakes here in the Middle East. Not at all. We know for a fact that there are earthquakes over here in the eastern side of Turkey and the Syria border region. Turkey-Syria border region right here. Why? It's happening every day because of that 10.0 earthquake. 9.0, 10.0 earthquake hit February 3rd, 2023. Major earthquake. Killed 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more. Because of that quake, we're going to continue to see aftershocks here for years. Literally years. That's why we see earthquakes here. There are earthquakes in northern Turkey, southern Turkey, central Turkey, and even over here in western Turkey. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Seismic energy is coming out of that Turkey-Syria border region because it's on the fault line. That fault line comes down here out of the Turkey-Syria border region, goes out here into the eastern Mediterranean, goes around Cyprus right here, out here in the Mediterranean, goes south of Cyprus or south of Crete, Greece here, Crete, Greece, goes up to the western side of Greece. But again, USGS is not showing any earthquakes in Crete or any earthquakes in the Dupage Islands, which is just east of Crete. The Dupage Islands here belong to Greece. They belong to Greece. There are earthquakes out here. Why? Because there's volcanic action going on. No volcano is erupting at present. However, there is magma beneath the surface. That magma beneath the surface I keep talking about because it's hammering away on the bedrock. Hammering away at the bedrock just below the ocean. Okay? Hammering away at the bedrock, trying to find an escape route either through a present volcano or an undersea volcano here in the Aegean Sea. It's likely to happen. It hasn't happened so far, and so far, most of these earthquakes are now just minor earthquakes and tremors here in the Dupage Islands. But that's not the case over here in mainland Greece. Mainland Greece is having 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7 earthquakes, as well as tremors up here in the Aegean Sea up here. This area around Patras. Patras, Greece is named after the Apostle Peter. We're having a bunch of tremors here. Those tremors are normally 1.0, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7 tremors. That's normally what it is. This is where most of the earthquake activity is, right here. Yes, there's earthquake activity north and earthquake activity down here to the south. That goes without saying. But a lot of seismic energy is tied up here near Patras area. That's normal too. Now, the Anatolian fault that comes out of Turkey and Syria goes all the way down past Crete, Greece here, goes up here to western side of Greece here to the Greek islands here, and then it goes over here into Italy. Goes over here into Italy. Notice there is one earthquake here off the southeast coast of Sicily and off the southeast coast of Italy here. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake. This is a shallow quake, 48 kilometers deep. 48 kilometers deep. This is 37 kilometers south-southeast of Pires Marina, Italy. Pires Marina, Italy. 4.7 earthquake here. Now that same fault zone goes up through here in Italy. But again, the USGS is not talking about it. Not talking about any earthquakes at all. Greece is still worried about this area right here around Naples. Folks, there may be a volcanic eruption here in the near future. There may be a volcanic eruption over here in the near future. I'm not discounting that. Okay? Some areas are still evacuated here because this area is getting pounded by earthquakes. Most of the earthquakes are tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes, but they're still happening. People are fearful, the authorities are still fearful that they may have a volcanic eruption incoming. We will keep you informed about what's happening there. Over here in north central Italy, right in here, we have a swarm of earthquakes. Normal, the swarm is anywhere between, say, 18 earthquakes a day up to 25 earthquakes a day here in this area. It's ongoing. It's been ongoing for quite some time. USGS is not talking about it at all, unfortunately. Unfortunately. There are some minor tremors and minor earthquakes up here in northwestern and northeastern Italy up here on the southern side of the Himalaya Mountain, or not Himalaya, the Alps Mountains here. These are the Alps Mountains. Over here on the other side, north side of the Alps, Switzerland and France are continually getting hit, and some parts of Germany are also getting hit. Most of these earthquakes are tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Occasionally, we will see a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake here in France. That's what's going on. Over here at the border region between France and Spain, typically we see a 1.5, 1.7 tremor and a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake here. That's normal. That's normal. We're seeing some minor earthquake activity here in southern Spain. They're only showing one earthquake here. This is near the Portugal-Spain border. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. This is also 10 kilometers, 6 miles deep. 10 kilometers or 6 miles deep right here at the border region of Portugal and Spain. Unreal. Unreal. Earthquakes still hit this area. Don't let the fact that USGS is not talking about it make you think that it's not happening. It is. It is happening here. Okay? Now let's drop down to the Atlantic Ocean. Way down here to the south. This is the south net. This is over on the southern edge of the South Sandwich Islands in the Scotia Sea. This earthquake happened yesterday evening at approximately 7:06 p.m. yesterday evening while we were on the air. A 5.0 large earthquake here. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Now we have an earthquake over here in the southern Atlantic Ocean, the southern mid-Atlantic ridge. This is a 5.6 earthquake. This is a very large 5.6 earthquake. We've seen a number of these large earthquakes here in the past 2 weeks. These are going to continue. Now, why am I saying they're going to continue? This happened at 8:41 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. This seismic energy is going to increase as we go forward. The Atlantic ridge is expanding. The mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. The same Atlantic ridge, the same plate, is pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. It's pushing South America, Mexico, United States, Canada, and Greenland in a southwesterly direction. We are going to continue to see earthquakes here in the mid-Atlantic. We're going to continue to see large to very large earthquakes here in the middle of the Atlantic. That's because of the expansion of the mid-Atlantic ridge. That expansion is causing earthquakes here in the United States and Canada. I'm going to show you some of those tonight. You need to know what's going on, because these are going to get larger earthquakes on the East Coast. We're going to see larger and larger earthquakes here on the East Coast. Now, with that said, let me bring up some earthquake activity in Canada. Let me show you that earthquake here, this earthquake activity in Canada. Give me a second here. All right. All right, let's see here. All right. I'm showing you an earthquake map of eastern and western Canada here. As you can see, a lot of earthquakes are over on the west coast of Canada. That's normal. Most of the seismic energy is staying over here on the west coast. Okay? There's very little activity over here in Canada on the East Coast. Now, if you see a red earthquake, here, spot, a round circle here, it means that earthquake just hit. Okay? Right here on the East Coast, you don't see that. See that large yellow circle there? Over by Ottawa, just east of Ottawa there? That's a 2.3 earthquake. That is a 2.3 earthquake. Okay? Earthquakes happen. They surely do happen. Like I said, most of the seismic energy is over here on the western side. Now let's go up to Whitehead. Where it says Whitehead up here in, I believe this is Alaska here. Whitehead, Alaska. See that red tiny circle there? Actually, there's a couple of them. The one near Whitehead, that's a 2.4 earthquake. That's a minor 2.4 earthquake. Now there's one even north of that. There's another one even north of that. It's a tiny one. You can see a purple circle, then you can see 3 yellow circles, and then a red circle. There is a 2.1 earthquake there. That's a 2.1 earthquake there. Okay? It's up above the word Yukon there. That's a 2.1 earthquake there. That purple one there, that tiny purple circle there, or lavender circle, that's a 2.9 3.0. That's a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. This happened on the 15th, which was yesterday. That was yesterday. Okay? That's what's going on. Now there is a brown circle just over on the north part of Canada, just south of Beaufort Sea here. Okay? That's Tuktoyaktuk, Northern Territories. That's a 3.6 earthquake. That brown circle up there just south, or you see Northwest Territories, you see a large brown circle, that's a 3.6 small earthquake there. Over in the sea, just south of Whitehead there, over the sea south of Whitehead, what you're seeing here is a 3.0 small earthquake. A 3.0 small earthquake. The yellow circles are earthquakes that have happened a week or two ago. These yellow circles will appear and stay here for approximately 30 days. After that, those yellow circles will be eliminated and more circles will appear. But that's what's going on. There is a brown circle over here to the south. Okay? It's over in British Columbia, Canada. It is a 3.0 earthquake over here near the border of the United States, near British Columbia, Canada. It's a 3.0 earthquake there. As you can see, there is seismic activity and a great deal of that as well, but it doesn't normally happen every day. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Okay, this comes from Canadian earthquakes. The seismic activity and the map comes from our Canada earthquakes. rcan.gc.ca on the internet. That's their address. Okay? nrcan.gc.ca. That's how you can find this site. Okay? Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest, just so you know. But I want to show you these earthquakes because they have happened. There is seismic energy, a great deal of seismic energy over on the west coast of Canada and the United States. Tonight, primarily, we're going to stick to the East Coast and the New Madrid Fault. That's my goal right now, to stick to the East Coast and the pneumatic fault. Let's start first with the East Coast. Okay, the East Coast. This is Martinsburg, West Virginia. Martinsburg, West Virginia. Look at the earthquakes here. Okay, look at the earthquakes that we're having here. Now I'm going to enlarge the size of this seismogram so you can truly see what we're seeing. Okay, up at the top of this seismogram, you see bunches of tremors, lots and lots of tremors. That's happened. On the blue line after 12 noon, see where it says 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock today. The blue line here is approximately 12:30. Okay, as you can see, we've had some seismic activity. All of those are tremors. All that is long-term tremors. Long-term tremors. But as you can see, there are other earthquakes here as well. Now, after 2 o'clock, which is 1400 over on the left-hand side. 1400 is 2 p.m. It's military time on the left-hand side. Let's go down to the green line just below that. The green line just below that is 2:45. Now you notice what they have and haven't done. Okay, they turned off the seismic, they turned off the seismograph. Turned off the seismograph. Yes, it recorded some tremors here. Then they turn it off. But over here on the right-hand side, you see two earthquake sequences, two small earthquake sequences. One happened at approximately 2:55 p.m. today. That was a 2.3 earthquake. 2.3 earthquake. Then the next one to the right is at 2:58, going into 2:59 p.m. this afternoon. That looks to be a 1.8, 1.9 tremor, but it's a long duration tremor. The one on the left turned out to be a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. However, it started off with tremor activity. Maybe 1.8, 1.9 tremor, then less than that, and then it picked up and went up to 2.0, 2.3 earthquake. That's what happened. Then you see a bunch of other tremors here once they turned the seismograph back on. They turned it back on at approximately 3:15 on the red line here. On the red line just below 1500 hours, that's 3 p.m. The red line signifies 3:15. You see a bunch of tremors. However, let's go down to 5 p.m. 1700 on the left-hand side. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 minutes, 4 hours, or 4 minutes, 45 seconds. After that, about 5:04 and 45 seconds, we have a 3.3 earthquake. A 3.3 earthquake here in Martinsburg, West Virginia. This came from the Mid-Atlantic Fault. This seismic activity happened because it's coming from the Mid-Atlantic Fault, squeezing eastern seaboard of the United States. That's what happened. That's what happened here. Okay? That's what's going on. Nathan Hester's talking about bad storms this Easter around Dallas, Texas. It's going to be bad storms around the middle of the United States going over the East Coast all weekend long. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Let's talk about earthquakes for right now, please. But as you can see over here on the East Coast, we have some earthquakes. That is caused by the expansion of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. That's going to continue here. That's going to continue. This is just Martinsburg, Virginia, West Virginia. Let's take a look at Martinsburg, West Virginia this morning, right here. All you see here are microquakes and minor tremors, except except for right here. Okay, down here after 6:15. See 0600 here, that's 6:15 on the red line. So just after 6:15 this morning, we had a 2.3 earthquake. That earthquake lasted about 10 seconds. About 10 seconds. Then we have more microquakes and tiny tremors. Then, what happens after 10:15? 10:15 on the red line, you see 10 o'clock in the morning on the black line on the left-hand side. The one below that is 10:15 on the red line. We come over to the right-hand side. Okay? That appears to be 10:41 a.m. this morning. 10:41 a.m. this morning, we have a 3.0 earthquake. Then almost a minute later, we have another one. Yes, this one was a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. 2.9 3.0 earthquake. The first one was a 3.3. This is a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. Multiple quakes. Multiple back-to-back quakes in both occasions here. Okay? These small earthquakes are common. But in this case, this is all due to the Mid-Atlantic Fault. It's expanding. It's going to continue to expand. Right? That's West Virginia. Let's go over eastbound over to Virginia now. Okay? Let's go over to Mineral, Virginia this morning. Okay, I showed you this just now. Sorry. Mineral, Virginia this afternoon. Right here. Okay? Now, why am I showing you this? These earthquakes don't happen just during the morning hours. They happen all day long. Now, after 12:45 this afternoon, the top line on the top of this diagram is 12 noon on the left-hand side. 3 lines down on the green line is 12:45. We come over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6 minutes later. 5.5 minutes later. What do we have? This is 12:51 p.m. this afternoon. Another big deal. 10E Pearl just gifted 5 EMA memberships. You guys just got gifted memberships from 10E Pearl. Thank him for that, or thank her for that. Sorry, Tim. Dustin K was gifted a membership, 30-day membership. Sue Ellen was gifted a 30-day membership. Kay Marava was gifted a 30-day membership. CC December was gifted a 30-day membership. And Barbie Little was also gifted a 30-day membership to Emergency Management Associates on YouTube. You guys, please thank Tinny Pearl for that. We appreciate it. Tin, thank you very much, little lady. We appreciate that so much. Okay? Appreciate that a lot. But look at these earthquakes, guys. Look at these earthquakes. 12:51 p.m. this afternoon. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Then it goes down to minor earthquakes, and then over to tremors, and then another minor earthquake again. 2.8 earthquake there. Then we go all the way to the right. 12:59 p.m. this afternoon. This is another 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 earthquake here in Mineral, Virginia. This is a lot of seismic energy. I want to tell you this, guys. Yes, we've had an increase in the activity, increase in the number of earthquakes, but we've also had an increase in magnitude of earthquakes. Earthquakes are getting larger here as well as on the Pneumatic Fault and all the way around the world. Seismic energy is increasing. Seismic energy is increasing here. Again, This is a 3.03.3 earthquake. Okay? Now, this seismic energy doesn't just end right here. It carries over here to 1 p.m. this afternoon. Okay? Why is that? It just didn't stop. We have tremor activity afterwards. It's called a secondary wave. Secondary wave. That secondary wave lasts only seconds. 3.3 small earthquake there, lasts only seconds here. Okay? That's what happens. And usually we have more earthquake activity after that. But in this case, all we had were microquakes and some tremors after about 4 p.m. About 4 p.m. This is what happens here in Mineral, Virginia today. Now I want to go over and talk to you about what happened over on the, let's say here on the East Coast. Let's say over here on the East Coast first. Let's go south to North Carolina. Let's go south to North Carolina. Then we'll go south from there. Let's go over to Roland, North Carolina here. Look here, guys. Roland, North Carolina has a bunch of microquakes and tiny tremors. Tiny tremors. However, let's take a look at what happened here in the late part of the morning. Look at this, guys. Look at this. After 10 a.m. this morning, 10:04 a.m. this morning, we had a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Then we had tremors, aftershocks of that. Secondary quake. 2.3, 2.4 earthquake, and then a secondary seismic activity that lasted for about 45 seconds. Very quiet, huh? It was. But we had seismic activity even before that. That seismic activity happened at 9:59 a.m. this morning. About 9:59 to 30 seconds. Tremors. Tremors. Then again at 10:04 a.m. this morning. 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes, and then the secondary wave happened. Then at 10:30 on the blue line, look at these tremors here. These are all tremors, guys. These are all tremors. They start at 10:30 on the blue line on the left, and then they span over to 7 or 8 minutes afterwards. Tremor activity, long duration tremor activity here. Okay, Roland, North Carolina. Guess what happened in Roland, North Carolina this afternoon? Different. Different. Nothing. Not a thing. Usually we have more earthquakes in the afternoon with some of these places, but this time Roland, North Carolina became quiet this afternoon. Nothing but tiny microquakes. Let's drop down to Sandy Mush, North Carolina in the afternoon today. Morning was quiet. Morning was very quiet. Now, let me bring down this side now so you can truly see exactly what we're seeing here. Okay, over here on the right-hand side. On the left would be 12 noon, 12:15 over on the left-hand side. Tremors. Come over here on the right-hand side. Folks, this is 12:29 p.m. this afternoon. 2.7, it's not 2.7, I'm sorry, 1.8, 1.9 tremor. 1.8, 1.9 tremor this afternoon at 12:59, 12:29, sorry, 12:29. Then the rest of the afternoon, you can see all these tremors. Sandy Mush, North Carolina. Let's take a look at this afternoon, or this evening. Okay. Over to Murphy, North Carolina now. Murphy, North Carolina this morning. Here we see nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors here. Look at that. Nothing but tremors until after 10 a.m. this morning. Just before 10:05 a.m. this morning, what do we have? Just tremors. Then at 10:05, we had a 1.9 tremor. Then more tremors after that. Then at 10:06 a.m., Rena Bergstrom just gave us a EMA 1 membership. Thank you, Rena. God bless you for that. Welcome to EMA 1. That's awesome. Anyway, over here at 10:06 a.m. this morning, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Minor earthquake here. Then look at out to the right. We had tremor activity, didn't we? A lot of tremor activity. For over a minute and a half, we have tremor activity here. So this 2.8, 2.9 earthquake may have been even larger. The seismologists may have turned this seismograph down. Why do I say that? Because when we see long duration secondary wave activity, that tells us that the preceding earthquake was larger. That preceding earthquake was larger. Incredible, huh? Absolutely is. Okay, let's take a look at Murphy, North Carolina this afternoon. Look at this. More tremor activity here. This is nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors this afternoon. The majority of the tremors happened here after 1:58 p.m. this afternoon. And then you see tremors from 1:58 on through 2 p.m. Minor, very minor tremors, 1.2, 1.3 tremors. Then at 2:15 on the red line, the tremors increased here. But that's all that happened here. That is all that happened here in Murphy, North Carolina. Let's look at another one here in North Carolina. Let's go over here to Pittsboro, North Carolina this afternoon. Tiny tremor activity here. Tiny tremor activity here in Pittsboro, North Carolina. This is out in the southwestern part of North Carolina. Pittsboro, North Carolina here. And I want to drop south to Roper, North Carolina. This is where it's interesting. Roper, North Carolina. Look at this. All morning from midnight last night to 11:49 a.m. this morning over in the bottom right. Bunch of tremors. Tons of tremors from 1.0 to 1.3, 1.4 tremors at the bottom here. Tremor activities all day long. Let's look at this afternoon here in Roper, North Carolina. Look at this. Yes, we've had a lot of tremors, but guess what? We've also had some earthquakes here, haven't we? Let's take a look at this. Early afternoon after 12, between 12 and 1, tons of tremors, up to 1.5, maybe 1.6 tremors. Then after 2:30 this afternoon on the blue line. 2:30 this afternoon on the blue line, what happened? What do you think happened? Earthquake time, guys. 2:36 p.m. this afternoon, we had a 3.4 earthquake. 2:36 this afternoon, we had a 2.5, well, I'm going to call it a 2.5, 3.5, 3.6 earthquake. Good size earthquake. Well, guess what? We are in Morganton, North Carolina to the southeast. Look what we're feeling. We felt some shaking this afternoon. We felt a lot of shaking this afternoon. We have small earthquakes all the time in this area. We felt some shaking this afternoon. After 3:30, look what happened. Between 3:05 and 3:06 this afternoon we had more earthquakes. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, and then another 3.0 small quake. Then after 4:15 this afternoon, 4:20 this afternoon, another 3.3 earthquake. Another 3.3 earthquake. The glasses and the dishes and the cabinets rattled here. The glasses and the dishes and the cabinets rattled here. 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes here. Then after 4:15, 4:32 p.m. on the blue line. 4:32 p.m. on the blue line, we have another 2.7 minor earthquake. Minor earthquakes are not felt. Minor earthquakes are not felt. Then another earthquake on the black line after 5 p.m. on the left-hand side. 1700 military time is 5 p.m. We come over here to the right-hand side. We come over here to the right-hand side here. Okay? This is at approximately 5:09 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 2.6 earthquake. 2.6 earthquake on the bottom black line here. Unreal. Richard Smith is reporting another 3.0 small earthquake in New Zealand. Pretty typical. Pretty typical, actually. But folks, this is what's happening here in North Carolina. Literally all over North Carolina. Let's go over to a place closer to me. Let's go over to a place close to me called Taylorsville. Taylorsville, North Carolina is just 45 minutes north of me. Look at this. Look at this, guys. This is this morning. This is this morning. The top black line here is midnight last night. You can see some tiny tremor activity here. Then after about 1:45, 1:46 this morning, we have some tiny tremor activity. That tremor activity continued for the next hour. Then at 3 a.m., 3:02 a.m., we had a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Then more tremor activity after that. Then after 7 a.m. on the black line here, you can see more tremor activity here. 7:15 on the red line, more tremor activity. Then after 7:30 this morning on this blue line, we have a 3.2 earthquake here in Taylorsville. Again, us here in Morganton, North Carolina, felt that quake. We felt this quake. Now, Renee, if you're here, did you feel this quake? Renee, did you feel this earthquake here in Taylorsville? Renee is further southwest. Renee Steppe should be here, and I'm just wondering whether she felt this quake. We have Renee Bergstrom. I'm sorry, Renee Bergstrom's here. Renee, thank you for being here. Renee Bergstrom, thank you for being here. She says this is the first channel she's ever joined. Just love one. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate that. Renee Steppe's usually here, guys. She also lives over here near Shelby, North Carolina, just east of me. She may have felt this quake as well. These are small quakes, guys. But guys, we've seen earthquakes here before, both in Roland, North Carolina, and also in Roper, North Carolina. But now we're seeing more of these in Taylorsville and other places around North Carolina. This is going to happen. Why are we getting earthquakes here on the East Coast? Because the expansion of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. The expansion of the Mid-Atlantic Fault are causing these earthquakes here on the East Coast. Let's go south to South Carolina. Let's go south to South Carolina. They're happening there as well. Okay? Down in Sumter, South Carolina is where we're going next. Sumter is where we usually see earthquakes in Lugoff in areas like that. Lugoff and Sumter are basically in the same area, within a matter of miles. This is what it looked like this morning. This is what Sumter, South Carolina looked like this morning. We had tremors just after 8 a.m. Then things started heating up at about 8:14 a.m. this morning. Larger tremors and minor earthquakes. Larger tremors, minor earthquakes. Then after 8:30 a.m. this morning, at approximately 8:05 this morning, the large earthquake started. 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes happened after that. You can see all that activity here over on the blue line on the left-hand side. Okay? 8:05 a.m. this morning. Then things calmed down after about a minute and a half. Then we had tremors, larger tremors, and larger tremors until over here on the right-hand side. 2.0 earthquakes over here at approximately 8:29 a.m. this morning. Okay? Then on, or actually 8:44 a.m. this morning. Then on the green line, look what happened this morning. 8:45 on the left-hand side. All of a sudden, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes, then 3.0 earthquakes, more tremors, and then just after 8:49, 3.0 earthquakes again. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes back to back. Then things calm down for a little while. We have tremors and minor 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes. Then over here further on the right-hand side, they increase again. They increase again. This time at approximately 8:56 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes. 8:58, another 3.0 earthquake. This seismic activity concludes at about 8:59 a.m. this morning. Then what happens after 9:55 a.m. this morning? Another 3.4, 3.5 earthquake. 3.4, 3.5 earthquake this time. Unreal, guys. Unreal. 9:55 a.m. this morning, we have another very small 3.5 earthquake. Then we have tremors again until at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., we have multiple 3.0 earthquakes hit. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes hit back to back for about 10 seconds. Then we have tremors again. This is Lugoff, Sumter, North Carolina, or Sumter, South Carolina. Lugoff and Sumter, South Carolina. Okay. Let's look at Sumter, South Carolina this afternoon. Look at this. Seismic activity didn't stop this morning. It kept on going. Yes, we had tremor activity until after 4 p.m. today. Okay. Then at approximately 4:07 p.m. this afternoon, 3.0 activity started. For about 30 seconds. For about 30 seconds, the ground shook for 30 seconds. 3.0 small earthquake activity. Then it went down to tremors again until just after that. This was at 4:40 4:07 p.m. this afternoon. Again, about 20 or 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds of 3.0 small activity. Still something that you could feel. If you lived in this area, you felt these quakes. If you lived in these areas, you'd feel these quakes. Then on the red line after that, on the left-hand side, the red line would be 4:15. Over on the right-hand side, 4:12 p.m. this afternoon. Another 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. 3.2, 3.3 earthquake here. Then tremor activity. Then on the blue line after that, which would be 4:30 on the left-hand side. We come over 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 minutes after that. 4:34 p.m. this afternoon. 3.3, 3.4 earthquakes. This seismic activity lasts for about 30, 40 seconds. Guys, this is Sumter, South Carolina. We've had reports over in Lugoff also, which is near Sumter. Look at that. Small seismic activity. After that, fairly quiet until after 5 p.m. 5:06 p.m., 3.3, 3.4 activity starts all over again. Another 36 seconds after that. Quiet. Quiet for about 10 minutes. Then at 5:15 over here on the left-hand side, 3.3, maybe 3.4 earthquake happened again. South Carolina also got hit. The mid-Atlantic fault is expanding, causing these earthquakes. That's what's going on here. Let's go south to Georgia. Guess what, guys? Georgia didn't get halted at all either. Look what happened in Savannah, Georgia today. Savannah, Georgia today. For the most part, these are all tremor activity. For the most part, this is all tremor activity. Yes, late morning after 7:30 this morning, they got to be larger tremors. And they may have also had over after 11 a.m. this morning, a 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake. Most of this is just tremor activity here today. Savannah, Georgia. It didn't stop. It didn't stop. Savannah, Georgia this afternoon. Look at this, guys. Look at this. 12 noon on the top left-hand side, all the way to 12:15. 12:18 p.m. this afternoon. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 4 minutes later, 2.0 earthquakes. Then we go down here to the 12:15 red line. 12:18. Okay, I covered that. Let's go down here to 12:30 on the blue line, over on the right-hand side. This is 12:43 p.m. this afternoon. 12:43 p.m. this afternoon, we have another 3.3 earthquake. 3.3 small earthquake here. We had more seismic energy. All of this is mostly tremors. But after 1 p.m. this afternoon, more tremors. 1:15 over here on the right-hand side. 1:15 is over on the left and right side with the red line. Over here on the right. Folks, this is about 1:22 p.m. this afternoon. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Tremors and minor earthquakes going on here the rest of the day. Okay, Savannah, Georgia. All the way from Virginia, all the way down here to Georgia, guys. All over this area. Let's take a look at Montrose, Georgia. Look at this afternoon. More tremors here. More tremors here this afternoon. Let's look at Calhoun, Georgia. Calhoun, Georgia this afternoon. Look at that. Nothing but tremors. Let's go down to Tipton, Georgia. Tipton, Georgia. Look at this. Tremors and earthquakes here. After 4:23 this afternoon. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Then a 3.0 earthquake hits. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes hit there. Goes on for about 5 or 7 seconds. More tremors, more minor earthquakes after that at this would be 4:29 this afternoon was a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. A minor earthquake after that, and then more tremors. Continued at 4:30 on the blue line. Minor earthquake 2.2, 2.3 right after 4:30. Then we come over here at 4:32. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. All the way down here in Georgia. It moves. The entire eastern side of the North America moved. Moved in a big way. Waverly Hall, Georgia, this morning. Quiet until 4:30 this morning. 3.2 earthquake this morning. 3.2 earthquake this morning. Waverly Hall, Georgia. And more tremors after that. Waverly Hall this afternoon. More tremors. Tipton, Georgia. More tremors here. Lighter tremors, but more tremors. The entire east coast of North America moved. The entire east coast of North America moved, guys. I showed it to you. Unreal. Let's take a look at the northern New Madrid Fault now. Let's go over and take a look at the North American Fault. I'm sorry, not the North American Fault, the New Madrid Fault here. The New Madrid Fault. Okay, this is Stronghurst, Illinois. This is the northern part of the New Madrid Fault here. Guys, this morning, look at that earthquake this morning. 2.9 earthquake. Multiple 2.9 earthquakes back to back here. $11 this morning. 11 hours this morning. Stronghurst, Illinois. Incredible. How about Stronghurst, Illinois this afternoon? Look what happened. Look what happened. Over on the top right-hand side. On the left-hand side, it would be 12 noon. Over here, we're talking about 12:13 this afternoon. 3.0 earthquakes. Started off with tremors, then it got to be a 12 point, not 12 point, started to be a 2 point or just tremors, Then all of a sudden we had a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, and then suddenly we had a 3.0 earthquake. Then it calmed down to be tremors again, about 50 seconds. Not even that, probably 40 seconds. Then another 3.0 earthquake back to back there. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes here. Then we had tremor activity for about 40 seconds. Then it died off. Then on the blue line here, let's take a look at this blue line here. The blue line would be 1230 on the left-hand side. Okay, we come over here to approximately 1240 this afternoon. 1240 this afternoon, we have another 3.2 earthquake, 3.2 small earthquake. Prior to that, we had tremors. Then right before the 3.0, 3.2, we had a minor 2.0 earthquake. All this time, that seismic energy built. Then it died off for about 40 seconds, build up again. This time at least a 3.0 earthquake here. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes hammered this area for about 10 seconds. Then it died off. Then it was quiet, very quiet. Microquakes, guys. Then what happened? After 3:30 this afternoon, 3:35, let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3:36 this afternoon, 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Multiple earthquakes back to back here. Seismic energy started with tremors, build up to that 2.6, 2.7 earthquake, and tremors up to that. Unreal. Stronghurst, Illinois, northern part of the New Madrid Fault. It didn't stop there, guys. It didn't stop. How about New Harmony, Indiana? New Harmony, Indiana. Look at this. Tremors here. Nothing but tremors all morning long. After 8 a.m., we had an increase in tremor activity for a short time. Then it died off until about 8, I want to say 8:42 this afternoon, 8:42 a.m. this morning, we had more tremors. Those continued on after 8:45 on the green line and continued on until 9 a.m. Then it dies off just tiny tremors and microquakes again. New Harmony, Indiana. Unreal, guys. Unreal. New Harmony, Indiana this afternoon. Tremors and microquakes this afternoon. Again, this is the northern part of the New Madrid Fault. When the New Madrid Fault goes, everything from the Great Lakes south is going to go. Everything from the Great Lakes south is going to go. The New Madrid Fault in the center of the fault is around Missouri. That area is going to feel the strongest parts of the earthquake. It's going to be felt up into possibly even Canada and across all the way to Washington, D.C. And even parts of the Midwest are going to feel it. A big deal. A huge deal. Let's look at Evansville, Indiana here. Southern Indiana University at Evansville. Look at this. Tremors. Tremors, guys. 10:34 a.m. this morning. 1.7 tremor. 1.7 tremor was the largest tremor of the day here in the morning. Evansville, Indiana this morning. Let's look at Evansville, Indiana this afternoon. Right here. Nothing but tremors here. More and more tremors here. I'm sure that continued on. I pulled this seismogram real early, just after I want to say 225, 228 this morning. I pulled it. That's what we're seeing here. Okay. Let's look at Evans. Let's see, I show you that. Let's go south over to Missouri. Let's look at East Prairie, Missouri here. Look at this, guys. Again, Missouri is the center part of the New Madrid Fault. This is where the New Madrid Fault is going to begin. The shaking's going to begin here in Missouri. Look at this. This morning, after 8, this is going to be 8:43 this morning. 3.0 earthquake. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes, and even less than that. This one earthquake happened at 4:43 was a 2.8 earthquake. Then at 9:15 we had more tremor activity. That tremor activity built up to a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. You can see that entire sequence here on the red line here after 9 a.m. After 10 a.m., what happened? More tremors. After 11:15, we saw tremors and microquakes until about 11:41 a.m. this morning. Tremors turned into minor earthquakes at 11:43 this morning. 2.9 earthquake. 2.9 earthquake. And more minor earthquakes and tremors after that. Unreal. Unreal. And this is East Prairie, Missouri. We've seen East Prairie before. Let's look at East Prairie this afternoon. Tremors and minor earthquakes here. Tremors and minor earthquakes here. After 3:31 this afternoon. 2.9 earthquake. 2.9 earthquake was the largest seismic activity here this afternoon. East Prairie, Missouri. It's going to get better, even more earthquakes than that. Let's go over to Barker Cemetery. Barker Cemetery over here in northern Missouri. Folks, years ago we just had tremor activity here. 2 and 3 years ago we just had microquakes, minor tremor activity. 2 years ago, 2 long years ago, the tremor activity began to be minor earthquakes. 2.0 minor earthquakes. Literally here and there, all over the place. Now look what we have here. Look what we have here, guys. This gets real fast. After 7:33 this morning on the blue line. This, folks, is a 3.0 earthquake. Barker Cemetery. We haven't had too many 3.0 earthquakes here before. We're starting to see them now. Before this, we had minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. Now we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes here. 5:53 this morning. 2.5, 2.6 earthquake, minor earthquake. Then we had microquakes and nothing but tremors until 7:17 this morning. Suddenly we had a 3.3 earthquake here in Barker Cemetery. 3.5 minutes later, 2.7, 2.8. Then it was quiet until 7:23 a.m. this morning. Another 3.3 earthquake. Another 3.3 earthquake. And then at 8:06 a.m. this morning, another 3.0 earthquake. 8:27 a.m. this morning on the blue line, 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. At 10 a.m., fairly quiet until 10:12. Just after 10:12, we had a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Then it was quiet. Yes, we had some tremors, but it was quiet until 10:29 a.m. this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. 10:31 quiet until just after 10:31. Then suddenly we had another 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Right after that, seconds after that, we had a 3.0 earthquake. Seconds after that, I believe it was a 3.2 earthquake. That sequence kept up for about 10 seconds off and on. Multiple earthquakes here. Multiple earthquakes. Then it was quiet for about 40 seconds. Actually, maybe a little bit longer. At 11:04 a.m. this morning, another 3.3 earthquake hit Barker Cemetery. 11:31 this morning, 2.9, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Again, multiple earthquakes here. Barker Cemetery. Again, you need to understand that 2 years ago, we just barely had tremors and minor earthquakes. 2 years later, we're having 3.0 full-blown earthquakes and larger. What's going to come of this within the next 6 months? Seismic activity is going to increase here. This is the center of the pneumatic fault. Barker Cemetery this morning. Wait till you see Barker Cemetery this afternoon. Look at this. Barker Cemetery this afternoon. Look at this. 12 noon. 12 noon on the upper left-hand side on the black line. Multiple 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes hit. 12:15. At about 12:20 p.m. this afternoon on the red line, 3.0 earthquakes. 3 or 4 minutes go by, we have another 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Seconds later, we have another 3.0 earthquake, multiple 3.0 earthquakes. On the blue line beneath that, at approximately 12:40 p.m. this afternoon, multiple 3.0 earthquakes. 12:52, actually, sorry, not 52, 12:47 p.m. this afternoon. 2.9, 3.0 earthquakes, back to back. Then it was fairly quiet until 2:32 this afternoon. 3.0 earthquakes again. Then over here on the right-hand side, 12:44 p.m. this afternoon, another 3.0 earthquake sequence. Then quiet till about 2 I want to say 2:10 a.m. or 2:10 p.m. this afternoon. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. More tremors until 3:35 p.m. this afternoon on the blue line. 3 p.m. is 1500 hours over on the left-hand side. On the blue line on the left would be 3:30. 3:35 p.m. this afternoon, another 3.0 earthquake. Incredible, huh? Barker Cemetery, guys. Barker Cemetery. Like I said, 2 to 3 years ago, all we had were tremors. That's all. Scattered all over the place. Now we're having not just minor earthquakes, but full-blown 3.0 and larger earthquakes here. The center of the new Madrid fault. This is getting bigger. This is getting bigger, guys. It's getting bigger by the day. Getting bigger by the day. That was this afternoon. Braggadocio, tremors. Braggadocio, Missouri, nothing but tremors. Let's go over to Cape Girardeau. Look at the tremors here. Look at the tremors here. Yes, we had tremors here until some point this morning. 10:16 a.m. this morning. 2.5, 2.8 earthquake. Somewhere between a 2.5 to 2.8 earthquake at approximately 10:16 a.m. this morning. You see that there on the red line on the left-hand side at the bottom. But tremors, all kinds of tremors, anywhere from 1.1 to 1.5, 1.6 tremors here. Okay? Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Incredible, huh? The same thing this afternoon. Look at that. They didn't stop this afternoon at all. Let's take a look at Dogwood, Missouri. Dogwood, Missouri, about a year ago, nothing happened. Occasionally, you might see a tremor or two, but that was all. Look what we have here. Folks, this is what we had here late this morning. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. Before 8:30, 8:40 a.m. this morning, it was nothing but tiny tremors. Then, after 9:15, 9:25 this morning, 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes, guys. 8:45. I'm sorry, 9:45. More 3.0 earthquakes here. 11 o'clock. We go over to the right-hand side. At approximately 11:10 a.m., the 3.0 activity happened. It continued for over a minute, probably a minute, 10 seconds. How would you like to be in your house and have a small earthquake activity sequence happen for over a minute? Your floor is shaking. Your floor is shaking beneath your feet. Totally disconcerting. You feel some of your furniture rattling. You hear it rattling on the floor. Maybe even a little bit of rattling in your cupboards, in your drawers, the silverware shaking. That's what happened here. Look at all this activity after 11 a.m. this morning. 11:15 over on the left-hand side of the red line. More 3.0 activity. It calmed down a little bit until about 11, I'm going to say about 11:25 a.m. this morning. More 3.0 activity. That lasted for about 10 seconds. Then at 11:30 on the left-hand side, more 3.0 activity here. Then at 11:05, 11:06 this morning, we had 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. Then more tremor activity. More tremor activity. 11:10, 11 a.m. this morning, 2.0 earthquakes again, and more tremor activity. Incredible, huh? Dogwood, Missouri this morning. Guess what? Dogwood, Missouri this afternoon. Look at this. Yes, we had some tremor activity. We had some minor 2.0 activity. At 2:10 a.m. or 2:10 p.m. this afternoon, 3.3 earthquake activity here. Dogwood, Missouri. 2:10 p.m., not 3, but 2:10 p.m. this afternoon. 3.3 earthquake activity. And then minor earthquakes after that. And then it turns down to minor tremors after that. Then after 2:15, on the red line on the left, 2:15 we have a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake sequence started. Off and on for another 20 seconds. This is an awful lot of seismic activity, guys. The people here in Dogwood, Missouri have a right to feel shaken. They got it. They got it this afternoon. How about Guam, Missouri? Look at this. Guam, Missouri. Seismic activity after midnight last night. 12:40 a.m. this morning. Microquakes, tremors, then it builds up to 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. That goes on until after 12:45 this morning. 12:46 this morning. 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. Minor earthquakes happening. Then tremors. Then tremor activity. Then after 7:06 a.m. this morning. 7:21 this morning on the red line. 3.0 small earthquake. More tremors. 10:30 this morning. More tremors. 10:32, 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes, building up to 3.0 and upwards of 3.3 earthquakes after that. Look at that seismic sequence here. 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes happening for over 2 minutes. Small earthquakes happening for almost 2.5 minutes there. More tremor activity until after 10:32 this morning. Then we have 3.0 earthquake activity happening again for another minute and a half. Then it dies down to tremors as well. Now look at the right-hand side of that sequence. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes to see that earthquake completely die down. This probably means, guys, look at that tremendous time it took for that earthquake to settle down. Secondary wave. That means this sequence after 10:32 was probably a 4.0 earthquake. A 4.0 earthquake. The same thing with that earthquake after 8 a.m. this morning. I'm sorry, not after 8 a.m., 8:32 a.m. That may have reached a 4.0 as well because the secondary wave lasted over 2 minutes. That was a large secondary wave at that. 4.0 earthquakes, guys. 4.0 earthquake. Then after 10:50 a.m. this morning, more minor earthquakes, 2.2, 2.4, upwards of a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake sequence. That sequence lasted for 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. 4 minutes worth of shaking, including all the tremors. Incredible. Really incredible. Guam, Missouri this morning. It didn't stop. This did not stop. Guam, Missouri this afternoon. Incredible, guys. None of this stopped. Tremors building into earthquakes. Tremors building into earthquakes. Look at that sequence after 2:15 this afternoon. It starts off with tremors at about 2:20 this afternoon. 2:20 this afternoon. By 2:25, 1.4, 1.5 tremors. A minute later, 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. 2.5, 2.6 earthquake after that. Then it comes down to tremors again. More tremors after 2:45. Then after 3:27 p.m. this afternoon. 3:27 in the afternoon. 3.3 earthquake again. 3.3 earthquake again. And I believe another within about 10 seconds later. Multiple earthquakes, tremors. And the last one was at 2:29. 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. 4 p.m. this afternoon. Look at the tremor sequence here. The tremor sequence here lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes long. 8-minute tremor sequence. Long duration tremors. After 4:48 p.m. this afternoon, 1, 2, 3 minute tremor sequence here. And that's where it stopped. Probably because I pulled the seismograph. Incredible. Guam, Missouri is shaking as well. Again, this is the center part of the New Madrid Fault. The center part of the New Madrid Fault is moving. It's moving. Kewanee, Missouri. Look at this. This morning. 1:15 this morning. Tiny tremors. But look what happens here after about 1:25. Builds up to minor earthquakes. 2.5, 2.7 minor earthquakes. Literally all morning long. Until after 3:50. Up until that time, we have long duration tremors and also 2.5 earthquakes in between those long duration tremors. Kewanee, Missouri. And this afternoon, the same thing. Look at that. Folks, I haven't seen so much activity here in a very long time. A very, very long time. Let's look at Portageville, Missouri. Look at this. Early this morning, the people living here in Portageville got the shaking beat out of them early this morning while they were sleeping. This started at 3:17 a.m. this morning. Tremors building into 2.5, 2.7, 2.9, and eventually 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake at approximately 3:20 this morning. And it continued for another 2 minutes after that. Four a.m. Tremor activity. 4 a.m. had tremor activity. Look what happened the rest of the morning. By approximately 4:10 this morning, we had a 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. And it still shook after that. 2 minutes worth of shaking after that. Incredible, huh? Folks, at approximately 4:20 this morning, tremors, minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes. By approximately 4:22, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. Look what happened later this morning. 2:20 this morning. Or not sorry, 2:20, 10:20 this morning on the red line towards the bottom. 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes last about 20, 30 seconds. Then dies down to tiny tremors. Then right before 10:30, starts up again. A 3.0 earthquake. 10:31, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Dies off to tiny tremors again. 2:36 this morning, 3.0 earthquake. 2:39 this morning, 3.0 earthquake again. Then the shaking pretty much stops on we have the tremors. This morning things were busy, right? Yes, they were. Portageville this morning was very busy. This is the biggest sequence of seismic activity I've seen at Portageville ever. Largest amount of seismic activity in Portageville, Missouri ever. Ever. Like I said, the seismic activity is building up and building up. It might not take 2 years before we have a major earthquake here on the Pneumatic Fault. Before now, I have been telling you that I thought it might take 2 years. It may not take that now. The seismic activity is getting larger, and there's more seismic activity as well. It's building. It's building. We have a lot of EMA family members here in Missouri, all over the Pneumatic Fault, all the way up to Illinois and Indiana. I'm talking to everybody. The Pneumatic Fault starts off in Louisiana by the Gulf of Mexico. Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma, Illinois and Indiana, and Ohio. we're going to see this place burst. This whole area is going to burst, guys. I guarantee it. It's going to pop. It's going to pop. Let me show you DeRidder, Louisiana this morning. This is way down south in Louisiana. Look at this. Yes, we have some tremors. We also have at least one 2.0 earthquake. At least one 2.0 earthquake. DeRidder, Louisiana, this afternoon. Right there. We have a 2.5 earthquake this afternoon at approximately 4. I want to say 4:21 this afternoon. Seismic activity is building up and down the entire fault. Lee says New Madrid, yes. All day or all evening long here. First, we talked about the East Coast because the Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding, causing earthquakes on the East Coast of the U.S. and Canada. Then I came over here to the New Madrid fault. What I'm showing you is real. This is real. Guys, this is going to go. Miriam says something's going to blow. Just waiting for Mento to drop into the drink. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. December 1700. I'm sorry, not 1700. September 1811. September 1811. Not September, December, I'm sorry. December 1811. It's when the earthquake first popped. Or last popped, I should say. The shaking stopped by the end of January 1812. I was over here 2011 in Little Rock, Arkansas. We first started the first disaster drill involving the New Madrid fault in 2011. Since then, we've had one other disaster drill about 4 years ago. Guys, this is real. I'm getting very concerned. This area is going to pop, and it's going to pop big. So far, it's been small earthquakes, upwards of 4.0 now, as you can see tonight. Seismic activity is increased. Debris says tremor 0. No, it's not. There's been hundreds of tremors up and down the entire New Madrid fault today. I've shown you that. Lee says there's so much happening, there's nowhere to run that's safe. Yes, there is. Off the New Madrid fault. Off and away from the New Madrid fault, east and west. East and west. But let me show you something. Let me show you something you should see. To the west, Nacogdoches, Texas. This is the tremor this morning. (8:35) this morning. Started off with a tremor, then it became a 2.0 earthquake. Nacogdoches, Texas. Eastern Texas. This is only a tremor and a minor earthquake. However, we've actually seen small earthquakes here. Minor and small earthquakes here in Nacogdoches, Texas before. And a lot of tremors as well. You have to go further into central Texas to get away from the major shaking of the New Madrid fault. But it doesn't stop there. Let me show you Tennessee. Hopper, Tennessee, guys. Again, this is on the New Madrid fault on the east side of the fault. You need to see something here. Look what happened this morning. Start off with tremors, became minor 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes. Then what happened after 7 a.m.? I've shown you this before on other seismograms around the globe. What happened after 7 a.m. this morning? 7:07 a.m. this morning. At least a 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. And look at the reason I said at least. They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom of the earthquake sequence. They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom of this earthquake sequence. This earthquake was at least a 3.5, 3.7 earthquake. 3.5, 3.7 earthquake at approximately 7:10 a.m. this morning. This is on the east side of the New Madrid Fault in Tennessee. Look at this. Look at this, guys. You can't deny what's going on here. You got to take it seriously. You have to take it seriously. 7:05, we had a 3.0. 2 minutes later, 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. 3.5 to 4.0 earthquake there. 4 minutes later, another 3.0. Incredible, guys. Tremors, minor earthquakes all the rest of the day, all the rest of the morning. This is incredible. Hopper, Tennessee. Hopper, Tennessee, guys. Both sides of the New Madrid Fault, north, south, east, and west, are going to be affected when this earthquake goes. The whole place is going to go. Look at Hopper, Tennessee this afternoon. The same thing applies. Look at these earthquakes this afternoon. Look what happened after 1:32 this afternoon. This tells a story. A 3.7 earthquake. 3.7 earthquake today. They didn't try to hide this one. They did not try to hide this one. Almost a minute and a half later, a 3.0. 2.9, 3.0. Look at these earthquakes today. 3 p.m. or 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. 1500 over on the left-hand side. The blue line is 3:30. 3.0 earthquake. 3:07. Multiple 3.0s, 3.5 earthquakes for another 20 seconds. It's going, guys. This is Hopper, Tennessee. You got to believe this. This is almost insanity. The whole place is going. We is asking, would this affect Virginia? Let me tell you this story. When the earthquake went off December 1811, that earthquake was felt all the way to Washington, D.C. They said it rang church bells in D.C. That is how strong that earthquake was. A big deal. A great big deal. Guys, I'm serious. No, Deb, a tremor is anything from 1.0 to 1.9. A microquake is 0.1 to 0.9. That's a microquake. A tremor is 1.1 to 1.9. Also, something you ought to know. I talked about this before in this program. You guys need to know this. Those of you who live around the New Madrid Fault know what I'm talking about. The highways and roadways around the New Madrid Fault on both sides of the fault, running north and south. They're mostly two-lane blacktop highways. Two-lane blacktop highways. They were paved over cow paths. Paved over cow paths. Horse and buggy routes. When this earthquake last hit, there were fissures that opened up in the cow paths. Great big huge holes in the ground opened up, blocking the traffic. Blocking the traffic. Nothing moved. They did not have fire hydrants, but cabins burned down. Some cabins burned down because they were lit by candlelight. Over on the New Madrid Fault in Tennessee, the Reelfoot Lake opened up. Why? Because of the Mississippi River stopped flowing for 7 minutes, flooding that entire prairie. The Reelfoot Lake still exists. Cabins and other property were down below the lake. They are not even sure how many people died at that time. The land was sparsely populated, but people died. Now this area is populated beyond measure. Populated beyond measure. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when this earthquake hits? These two-lane pieces of blacktop are going to open up again. Great big huge holes in the road. Water mains are going to burst. Gas mains are also going to burst. Natural gas mains are going to burst. There's going to be fires. Gas lines are also going to start on fire around homes and businesses. The fire departments are not going to have water pressure to put out much of the fire. The fires will have to be put out by air, by plane and helicopter loads of water and fire retardant. Besides that, the fire departments won't be able to move far because the roadways are being destroyed. To get any food or service out there to the people that are affected, it's going to have to ride by helicopter and small planes in the area, because large aircraft won't be able to land in the area. The runways are going to be destroyed. The runways are going to be destroyed. Yes, Deb, we're having clusters of earthquakes. Clusters and swarms of earthquakes up and down the entire New Madrid Fault and on the East Coast as well. It's ongoing. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. The river flooded out areas before. It may happen again. But this place is heavily populated. I've been over in Arkansas. I've been in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've driven the I-40 from Arkansas over to North Carolina. I know what the drive is like. I know what the place is like. I've met people there. I met people there. Folks, there's going to be suffering, untold suffering. It's going to happen. Surrey says it's going to be a very, very bad day. Surgery, you're absolutely right. That's going to happen before we know it. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen this month, next month, or next year. But I don't think it's going to be much more than 2 years before the New Madrid Fault pops. Are you folks that live here going to be ready? Because I was there for the disaster drill in 2011. I made a great many friends over there in Arkansas, Tennessee, and Missouri. We met together at the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management at Little Rock. I was even offered a job there that I turned down. Folks, those people are going to have it very rough. We need to be planned and ready. Those of you who live on the fault or anywhere near it, and I'm talking from western Arkansas, even over into eastern Mississippi and Alabama. Yes, we have earthquakes all the way over into Alabama as well. Yeah, earthquakes all over. Guys, it's moving. You need to be planned. You need to have an emergency preparedness plan. We've been talking about this for years. We've been on the air now over 6 years. We've been talking about it. You need to have a preparedness plan written down. My plan for my family is here in my bookcase, over 100 pages. Your plan might be 25 to 50 pages. It doesn't matter. But you need to have a plan written down about any kind of disaster, whether it's an earthquake, a flood, tornado, whatever might happen, a hurricane. You need to be ready for it. You need to have an emergency preparedness kit as well. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. You need to have water, food and water, and clothing. This earthquake could happen in the middle of the winter or the middle of the summer. Like I said, last time the earth popped here on the New Madrid was December 1811 and January 1812. 2 months worth of earthquakes. 2 months worth of earthquakes. Major earthquakes. Several years ago, they said it was a 7.0 earthquake. Now scientists are saying it's probably closer to an 8.0. Yeah, it's going to happen. Lee says survival mode. You're right. We need to be thinking about survival mode. Survival mode. Back in the day, survival mode was our grandparents every day. Our survival mode 100 years ago was everyday life. We need to be ready. My friend Don Patokas here in the chat, he's one of my mods here, very, very dear friend. He says you have to have a make-do philosophy, a make-do self-reliant philosophy. He's absolutely right. You need to be able to make improvised solutions. Improvised solutions, guys. Yes, Debris says there goes the pool water, sloshing in and out of the pool. Yes, there are all kinds of pools over there. I've seen them. The pool waters will not be good for drinking. You must have some way to filter it. You won't be able to drink pool water because you'll get sick. Lee says sacrifice your comfort zone and what you're used to. Oh yeah, times 20. Times 20. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm very serious today. I am serious as a heart attack because this is going to be a very deadly earthquake. As I showed you, there are real problems here. There are very real problems here. You need to be ready. I'm telling you, you need to be ready. Okay? It's past time. It's past time. If you're not ready, you're going to be hurt. It's past time. And I couldn't be more serious. We need to be ready. We need to be ready. And we need to be ready right now. Right now. Now, brothers and sisters, there's a man named There's a man named Dieter Fugdorf. He gave a speech yesterday at BYU, Brigham Young University in Utah, having to do with Easter, called Receive the Unexpected Messiah. I'm going to play this devotional for you. Those of you that are serious about Easter, stick around. This is good talk. You're going to like this talk. Dieter F. Uchtdorf is a great man. I know him to be a wonderful man. And what he says is wonderful. It really is. Okay, let me set this up for you.
We tend to think of joy as the absence of sorrow. But what if joy is not the absence of sorrow? What if joy and sorrow can coexist? By the end of the next day, Jesus was hanging on the cross, suffering a cruel tribulation died down, as happens so often in life. The crowds dispersed. People went back to their regularly scheduled activities. They had their Passover meal. They were still subject to Rome and still had to pay taxes. But many of them probably looked back on that Sunday in Jerusalem and wondered what all the fuss had been about. Meanwhile, Jesus had a quiet Last Supper with his apostles in the upper room. He taught them, encouraged them, and prayed for them. He gave them the sacrament ordinance, something to remember him by. Then he walked into a garden called Gethsemane. And there, alone, he took upon himself the sins of the world. He walked the winepress alone, and no one was with him. By the end of the next day, Jesus was hanging on the cross, suffering a cruel and humiliating execution between two common thieves. Instead of adoration, he now received mocking. If he be the king of Israel, the people said, let him now come down from the cross and we will believe him. Some observers must have been sincerely confused. Wasn't this the same man who caused all that commotion a few days ago? Wasn't he supposed to be our deliverer? How will he save us if he can't even save himself? One of the thieves being crucified with Jesus verbalized what many people were surely thinking. Aren't you the Messiah, he said? Save yourself and us. With the advantage of hindsight, we can clearly see that people had mistaken expectations about Jesus' real mission. John observed that at first, even the disciples didn't understand. By accepting the agony and enduring it to the very end, he was indeed saving them, even those who crucified him. By his own free will and choice, he gave himself as the final and complete sacrifice. That is what the Messiah is. And by this, he was saving you and me, and all who will ever live on this earth. Descending from the cross and saving himself would have been impressive, and it may have persuaded some that he was more than a human being, perhaps even showing them that he was the Son of God. But the fact that he chose to take his cross, walk the winepress alone, and bring the ultimate sacrifice to the divine altar to rescue all of God's children, even though he had power to save himself, has become the supernal witness that he is indeed the Son of God, submissive to his Father's will and committed to fulfilling his Father's plan of salvation to the last breath. With all the additional insight and abundance of revelation that has enlightened the world to this day. And if we are willing, we can understand that now that is the case. He is the Messiah. But my dear young friends, how would we have reacted in the moment right there in Jerusalem or up in Galilee? Perhaps we shouldn't be too judgmental of our fellow humans of that ancient time who were genuinely puzzled by this unexpected Messiah. Haven't we all experienced an occasional disconnect between what we expect in life and what actually happens? Aren't unexpected surprises part of our lives? The gospel of Jesus Christ is a gospel of high ideals. Many of us are drawn to the Savior precisely because he lifts our sights and our aspirations high above and beyond anything the world has to offer. We believe, for example, that every human being is a beloved child of the most glorious being in the universe. And because of that, each of us has limitless potential and glorious divine destiny. We believe in the blessed and happy state of those that are willing to keep the commandments of God. We have faith that the path of discipleship is the path of divine joy. That living the gospel leads to happy, peaceful life with strong family relationships that will go beyond this life into eternities. Those are some of the ideals of the gospel. They are beautiful and hopeful, and they are true. I am witness of that. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that they don't always match the messy, mundane realities of mortality. In a perfect world, everyone who would always keep the commandments of God. In a perfect world, we would all feel blessed and happy, and every faithful member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would have a strong, fulfilling marriage and family. But the fact is that some of us face very complex, daunting challenges that make these blessings seem almost out of reach. So, what do we do when the beautiful, universal, eternal ideals of the gospel clash with the painful, individual, mortal realities of life? There are at least two things you should remember. Never give up on the ideal, and don't disregard the real. Accept both. It is not easy for our mortal minds and hearts to hold onto two concepts that seem to contradict one another. So, to resolve the disconnect in our minds, we might jump quickly to conclusions like, if I'm suffering, I must have done something wrong. Or, if I'm not seeing the blessings I hope for, the promises must not be real. Or, as this thief on the cross wondered, if he is the Christ, why doesn't he end my pain? But maybe there's another way to look at things. Didn't the Lord say, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, So are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts higher than your thoughts? We don't have to look far to see examples of this principle in action. There are so many things in life that God sees differently than we do. Let's take, for example, the well-known scripture from the Book of Mormon. Adam fell that man might be, and men are, that they might have joy.
Think about that. Think about that one, brothers and sisters. Adam fell that men might be, and men are, that they might have joy. Our Savior Jesus Christ made it so. He knew his mission before he even came to this earth. After he came to this earth, he began preaching himself in the temple with the Sadducees and Pharisees and the priests at 12 years old. He continued to preach for another 20 years. What a great man the Savior was, and still is. He's here to help us all. As we go through Easter and celebrate Easter this weekend, let's remember one thing. Let's remember the service that the Savior gave us. Let's all remember what Jesus Christ did for us. Adam fell that men might be, and men are that they might have joy. Jesus Christ started this. He came to this earth and died for our sins. We might also be able to return to him in heaven. May we be able to do this. May we all be able to do this. Remember where we came from and why we're here. Let's help our children and our grandchildren, our neighbors and friends to understand true meaning of life, why we're here, and where we're going. Let's remember that, brothers and sisters. I pray to all of you. I pray that all of you, not to you, but I pray that all of you will truly remember the true meaning of Easter. During Christmas, we worship Christ for his birth. I said at that time, before Christmas, that there were 3 holidays coming up: Christmas, New Year's, and after New Year's. The trilogy of holidays. Actually, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Easter is the other side of that. We give thanksgiving for our blessings. We celebrate Jesus Christ's birth. Then we celebrate his death and resurrection. Jesus Christ lives. He lives. He and God hear and answer our prayers. Let's think about this. Let's think about this and truly understand where we are in our life. Be ready for what happens. Be ready for what happens. I've done a lot of thinking about this. That's why I played this devotional for you, so we can all understand where we came from and why we're here and where we're going. Stay strong, everybody. Stay strong. Worship God. Let's be thankful for all our many blessings. Let's be thankful for all our many blessings. Please do that. I showed you a lot of things that are going to happen in the very near future. We've had large earthquakes over in California. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. We are going to see more devastating earthquakes and disasters around the globe, where we might not even think about. Let's be ready for it. It's going to happen. The whole world and earth is going to change. Let's be ready for it. Let's be prayed up. Let's get physically and emotionally and mentally prepared. Let's do a lot of praying, get down on our knees, and thank God for what we have, and ask him to bless us. If you want to help support this channel, just like Renee did tonight, Go to the top of the program description just below this video tonight. Go over there to join this channel on EMA on YouTube. Also below that, if you have any questions, comments, and suggestions, send them to our email address, rltnspdema@gmail.com. You can also help support this program. We have 2 PayPal locations and a Venmo location right after our email address. If you want to help support this program, please do it. Also above our PayPal and Venmo is our address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. You can send us cards, letters. We got a card yesterday, which we greatly appreciate, from Linda Covington. Before that, we got another card, which we love and appreciate. Those cards are downstairs on our dining room table, so my wife and I can enjoy those. We love cards and letters, guys. Inside cards and letters, you can also insert a check or a money order or even cash and send it to us. Happens all the time. We appreciate each and every one of you here. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, I leave you with this. Ask for the Lord to bless you and to be with you always. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. Take care of each other. Take care of everyone, including yourself. Be safe out there. God bless you. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.